Okay, we're continuing Mitzvah Ayin Zayin 77. The Mitzvah of Lo Ta'aneh Al Riv Lintot, that the judge is responsible to come up with his own reasoning when he gives a verdict and not follow other people. That was the essence of the Mitzvah. There's actually four other commandments, four other halachot connected to this that we spoke about yesterday. But now we're in the purpose of the Mitzvah. I don't think we're going to finish today. We're going to have to finish the Mitzvah next week. It's again a long one. But what's the reason for this? So he says, Mishorsheh mitzvah zu, kemo she'amarnu techila, something that we stated at the outset. Shelo yelech echad min hadayanin achar chavero. We don't want the judge to follow the view of his fellow judge. Ela yavina devarim me'atzmo. He should understand the matters independently. Hatam, the reason is, mipnei she'efshar shemitoch kach yavo adin kulo lifamim al dat echad mehem. Because if we are going to allow the judge to listen to another judge or follow the opinion of another judge, you might have a case where it is decided just because of one guy. One guy is going to say, yeah, he's guilty, and everybody's going to say, yeah, I say what he says, yeah, I say what he says, I say what he says. Only one guy is making the decision. And you'll see that that's the case. Hashem does not want to submit the judgment regarding someone's life, okay, because it's talking about capital cases, to the opinion of one man. Now, remember, this does not include monetary cases. But bedin mamon, when it comes to monetary law, shenitan leishavon, where errors in judgment are subject, we can fix errors in judgment by repayment. You just pay the guy back. You can't. If you make a mistake with someone's life, you can't pay that back. So en choseshin lechol zeh. We're not concerned with all of these issues. Vafilu lishlosha mosrin oto lechatchila. Even if we initially submit monetary cases to a court of three, on basis is based upon the premise that it's impossible that at least one of the judges is not proficient in monetary law. In other words, as long as you got one of them that is an expert, then there's no reason to prohibit the other judges from following the opinion of the most learned judge. As to all the other laws that we learned from this pasuk, kegon melamed zechut shelo yilamed chova. We learned yesterday, the other day, that a judge who advances an argument for acquittal cannot switch to conviction. V'she'en potchin lechova, and you don't open deliberations for conviction. V'en matchilim min hagadol, and you don't begin with the words of the most preeminent judge. Kol zeh lechemlat Hashem yitparach al briotav. All of these are expressions of Hashem's compassion that He has for His creations. Ki adam hachomel al banav derech mashal. As by way of analogy, a person has compassion for his children. Kemo shekatuv banim atem laHashem Elohechem, that you are children to Hashem, your God. All right, so it's this is the reason for Hashem's compassion. Now He gives us a little parable to explain the paradox that Hashem sets a death penalty for certain violations, yet seeks to distance its use. Ve'agatz mechal derech mashal. By way of analogy, we can reflect on this. Im yolid ish me'ah. If a man should father 100 children, that's not literal, but it means like he has a lot of children. Ubana lahem ir ve'oshivam sham. And he builds for his children a city and settles them there. Ve'ra'ah shelo yitkaimu ba'yishuv. And the man sees, wow, all my children, they're not going to endure. They're not going to handle this. Everything's going to mess up. They won't be able to build a society. Ela imken yigzor alehem, unless he decrees shekol hamaker re'ehu ya'anesh b'mamono, that anyone who strikes his fellow is going to be punished with a monetary fine. V'im yamiteu yumat, and if he should kill his fellow with his strike, he's executed. V'kama echad ve'avar gzirato. Now that the father made the decree, one of the children, if he was to arise and violate the father's decree and murder one of his brothers, if the father would pardon the murderer and not carry out the punishment, the whole society would fail, and what's going to end up happening is anarchy. Because there's no fear of punishment that's going to remain on everybody that's there. Because hey, my father didn't. It's the threat that is baseless. You know, as a parent or as a teacher, you have to know that when you tell something to your kids and you want to see a threat, it can't be something baseless. It has to be. You have to come through with it. You know, you say, oh, next time you do this, I'm going to throw you out the window. You're not going to throw you out the window. The little child says, hey, my dad didn't throw me out the window. So obviously he's not serious. All right, same thing with the teacher. If you do this, you're going to lose recess for 3 weeks. You're not going to lose recess for 3 weeks. So you have to understand these empty threats. So he says the same thing here. If the father was not to come through with what he stated as law to keep the society, everything is going to go berserk. What then should the father do so he not see the death of the second of his children? Right? What am I supposed to do now? He will at least examine every possible means of acquitting the accused in accordance with the law. If he's able to spare him while maintaining the integrity of the law, it's good. However, if it's impossible to spare him by any legal means, then the father will give the order to put this perpetrator to death in order to maintain the society for the benefit of the others' children who remain. So too, it's a matter of our Torah laws where Hashem makes these laws very difficult to actually convict a person, and we want to find ways to acquit, so that everybody else will learn from, will at least have a little bit of fear. However, and we'll conclude with this: if the guy is guilty, meaning if the guy did kill someone else, but because we started off with the great judge, now we have to throw the whole case out the window. Okay, this person who was a murderer, he shouldn't be walking around thinking, look at me, I got away with it. You know, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu settles all accounts. Okay, if you didn't get him now, all right, then he'll probably get it in a different way. So something to think about. Okay, next time we'll look at the laws of this mitzvah and we'll finish.